webinar.
There we go. Welcome, welcome, everybody. We are excited to have you here today for Unlocking Course Vision, Designing Like a Superhero. We are going to let some people join. While you're joining, please jump into chat and tell us where you're coming from. And since it's summer, tell us what your favorite summer activity is or something you're looking forward to this summer.
Or like favorite summer song. I'll tell you mine. It's Summertime. Will Smith, old school. You know that? You remember that one?
Good one. I like most Will Smith, actually.
Interesting. I didn't know that about you,
I
Kristen.
was a Fresh Prince fan from youngin'.
What? Okay. Okay.
Nice.
Had
Yeah.
some beach people kayaking. That sounds lovely.
Uh, Ormond Beach, is it? Wonder if it's raining over there. Are you kayaking in the rain? We're getting tons of rain in Orlando.
Ours just let up in Gainesville. Yesterday was torrential.
Yeah.
Well, the weather report from Kansas City is sunny and clear. It is beautiful here. Texas, Ace of Base. Yes. 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 Kristen, it'd be fun on our next webinar if we could do some, jukebox at the beginning. So those attendees that come on time, we get to listen to their favorite songs.
We don't have that much time, but that's a cute idea.
This is what I like about summertime and professional development or, professional learning or workshops. You can have a little more fun with it.
All right, as you're joining, please tell us either your favorite summer activity or your favorite summer song. Tell us where you're coming from. We're so happy to have you today.
Hey, shout out, Paula. Thanks for giving a shout out. The summer series is also taking place this week. Julie, one of our fabulous trainers, is leading a whole summer, right? Summer school, I think she's got it called.
All week.
I was in yesterday and I had a blast. I loved it. I'm still learning things about Design Plus, so that's awesome.
Yeah, I will be jumping immediately from this one to our Design Plus summer school. So jump on over with me if you want some learning. Today we're going to be looking at templates and template building.
Austin staying in the AC. What's up, Brian? Shout out to looks like Massachusetts there. Oh, Walking on Sunshine. There we go. Kristen, can you sing that one?
I will not, but I know the song.
Walking on Sunshine. That's what
There we go.
Just a reminder that if you're using chat and you want it to go to everyone, the default, you have to change from hosts and panelists to everyone in that drop down.
We are seeing a lot here. Hey, what's up, Paul? Shoreline was emailing with you guys last week.
Fantastic. Well, let's go ahead and kick this off. I want to make sure we have enough time for everything today. So I'm Kristen Powers. I am the Director of Marketing here at City Labs, and I am joined by two fabulous humans, Sam Myers and Brad Moser. Let me tell you a little more about them. Brad has a physics background. He was a district leader in K-12 and is now our K-12 sales director. You can read some more fun facts about him here. And then Sam is the online learning and design specialist at Lake Highland Preparatory School in Orlando. He has a background in marine science, geology, and has been working for the last 3 years as the instructional design and ed tech person at Lake Highland.
Hey, Sam, I had to include on my bio, I took 1 year of high school sea science myself, so I got a little bit of sea in me.
If you want to know more about swimming with sharks, Sam's the guy to ask.
Yeah, this was a picture of us at the FETC conference. We did a version of this presentation, and I think it was right after I went, or it was either right after or right before I went on a shark dive. It was awesome.
So we've got some adventurous, fun-loving instructional design fans here. If you don't know anything about City Labs, we are a company that makes 6 different products that are all built to work within Canvas. We work to empower educators and course designers for accessible, impactful learning. And that means creating things that are engaging, creating things that don't have a whole lot of, cognitive overload, also making it easier for you to monitor students, to manage the settings in your courses, to get thousands of courses ready to deploy for a semester. All of these different tools we offer. If you want to learn more about those, I'm going to drop a link in the chat in just a second. We'd love to demo any of them to you. Today, we're going to be really focused on Design Plus, which is the must-have design tool set from Canvas. If you've never seen Design Plus, we're very excited to show you it live because there's so many cool things that you can do to really engage your students. And that's what we're here to talk about today, is what are some of the really research-based instructional design techniques that you can use to help make sure that your students can have a clear path to success. So this whole idea of course revision, I'm going to let my teammates explain more about the goals today and what that looks like.
Yeah, thanks, Kristen. And feel free to, at any point, just ask questions, and Kristen or Brad can interrupt me, and we can stop at any point to clarify anything.
I'm going to interrupt you right away.
Yep.
Two points I forgot to mention, just housekeeping. Yes, we will send out a recording of this later to everyone who registered. So if someone you know registered and didn't attend, we will also send it to them. And we are going to be doing a Q&A at the end of this session. So if you have any particular questions about the products or features, anything like that, throw it in the Q&A, and we will get to that at the end of the session. All right, now back to you, Sam.
Thanks. So yeah, so the three main things that we're going to be focusing on today are discussing the idea of what cognitive load is and how it relates to design, and then looking at how common design choices that we often make have unseen effects on the learning process for students. And that's really where we're going to put on our course array vision and see some of the unseen things that we normally don't point out. And then we're going to examine some quick and easy ways for Design Plus to help minimize the cognitive load and maximize visual engagement. And that's when we're going to go into a live build session with Brad, and he's going to make the magic happen at the end.
It's going to be fun.
So when I'm reflecting on my time as a teacher and when I'm, in a classroom with students, I feel like I have two main things to be thinking about. The first is that my job is to engage and inspire. So I'm really trying to get students to realize why my content matters and to be interested in the content matter. And that's kind of the part of the craft of teaching. But the other part of that is once I get them hooked, it's my job to get out of the way of the learning. And that's really where design comes into play. And it's not just the design of the overall structure of the course and the learning experience, but it's even the design of the content and the materials that we actually provide for the students. It involves just getting out of the way in so many ways. And City Labs, it looks like there's a lot of things that you can do with it, but utilizing these tools actually helps us get out of the way more, which is really helpful. Now, I do want to say before we get too deep into this, that this isn't just appropriate for online students and online teachers. This really is relevant for everyone that uses any kind of digital content. So if you're using Canvas in your face-to-face courses, these ideas are just as relevant, because any face-to-face teacher will say that they've had students who are absent or tardy for different reasons, students who are emotionally distracted or disorganized, students who prefer a different pace, presentation, or format of text, students who like to go back and review some of the content on their own later on at home. They have classes with the loud few, the kids who are always volunteering, which, sometimes can end up making other students shut down and kind of, disassociate from what's going on in the class. And then students who just plain struggle to read between the lines or understand some of those nonverbal cues. All of these things happen in every type of course. And if students are revisiting this content on their own, design is just as important for them as it is for online classes. So it really is, beneficial for everyone to focus on design and to remember at the same time that as frustrated as we get when we have to clarify, either our expectations or instructions over and over and over again to some students, we have to realize that our user interface is like a joke. If you have to explain it, it's not that good. So what we put into Canvas, if we find that students are constantly asking questions about it, yes, we're not going to thwart every question with good design, but chances are if you're getting a lot of questions, that we could design our own, pages a little bit more clearly and transparently. So I love this joke. It goes along with our theme of superheroes and Batman. I think it's a good joke because I actually got it. I didn't need anyone to explain it to me, but it did take a second. So we're just putting
Yeah,
that in for humor.
Sam, I remember when I first saw that, and it took me a moment. It took me a
Yep. Okay, so what does research actually say about the use of good design? So City Labs, I think it was like early last year, put out a paper that's called "Looks Really Do Matter," where they highlighted 3 things that research says about good design. 1, that it increases motivation and engagement of students. 2, that it improves the perception of credibility and value to the content that's being viewed. And 3, and what I consider, or what I think is most important, is it reduces irrelevant cognitive processing. And this is that idea of cognitive load and reducing all of these roadblocks, or cognitive load blocks, I like to call them, that prevent students from really focusing and engaging with the content at hand. So before we look at some examples of that, you may have been wondering why on the home slide we have a picture of Batman and a super squid, or what I like to call the city super squid. So just a little bit of background on that. Squid, if you're not familiar with them, I love them. They're amazing ocean animals, but they have this really unique ability to see polarized light, which a lot of organisms can't. And so the ability to see something that everyone else can't really helps them navigate and hunt underwater effectively. And in a similar way, cognitive load are those unseen things that we have to think about. But as teachers and designers, we want to be able to, envision those hurdles, those load blocks that are preventing students from, really engaging with the content well. So cognitive load, it's about how much memory we can devote to everything that's happening around us at the time. And so we're going to get into that a little more in depth in a few slides, but that's why I'm the city super squid, which also serendipitously has a great monogram for you coders out there, CSS. So I thought that was appropriate.
I love it. I love it.
And then, of course, Batman. So the reason Brad is Batman is that although not truly blind, oh, there he is.
Sorry, I'm Batman.
But bats, kind of like squid, also have this really unique ability to navigate in complete darkness through the use of echolocation. And I love this quote from Batman that says, "It's not who I am underneath, but what I do that defines me." So that's really appropriate when it comes to design, because students don't really care why we design things a certain way. All they care about is how it makes them feel. How are they interacting with it, and how is it impacting them? So that's what kind of defines, good design, is how it affects the end user.
Yeah, love that.
All right. So with our special vision, we are going to take a trip into the world of the unseen. So I'm going to put on my special powers here, put on my super squid hat, and Brad's getting on his cape.
I got my cape. It's on proper. It's on proper. Got my glasses too.
If any of the audience has capes or silly hats they want to wear, we encourage you to join now.
Cape up. Now's the time? Cape up?
Yep. Actually, I don't have my cape with me. I should have added my cape too, but that's okay. So here we go. We're going down into the world of the unseen. So touching on those first 2 points that we pointed out with the research, the increased motivation and perceived credibility, I like to call this the feel of content. How it makes us feel, do we want to continue working with it or not, or engaging with it? So here's a quick example. This is an actual website called lingscars.com. And just spending a few seconds on this hurts my brain. This does not motivate me to engage with this because it's just pure confusion and utter chaos for me. So this is not very encouraging for me. And I don't consider this very credible at first, even though it may well be. But compare that in a few seconds time to a few seconds on this page. Now, it's not as bright and shiny, but within a few seconds, your eyes are probably taking you to the simple, there in the white menu, the navigational menus on any location, any year, any make, you know exactly what to do. You're searching for a car and you see the easy navigational menus to try and help you get to that next step. That all happens within a few seconds and makes a big difference on whether students are going to continue to engage with your content or not. Okay, and so this is how first impressions really matter. And visual studies have shown that people form opinions about websites in a span of 50 milliseconds. So before you can even really think about 50 milliseconds, you've already formed an opinion. And on top of that, it only takes about 2.5 seconds to really focus on a specific part of the web page and to try and figure out where you're going to go next. What are you going to click on next? And so Thorndike's law of effect basically states that motivation comes from feeling good. And so we want students to feel engaged. We want it to, the pages that we create, we want it to feel good on their brain and not send them into a state of chaos and shock right away. Okay. So if we look at this page, which is an all too common Canvas type of page that I see, it's just all black and white text. This does not feel good to most people's brains. At least I don't enjoy seeing a page of all black and white text that all looks the same. But compare that to a page like this, where you have things like formatted navigation tabs and icons that have familiar shapes to them, and colors and videos and expanders that can open up with imagery and allow other things to be, you know, nice and compact on a web page. This is so much more engaging. I would definitely be more motivated to stay on this site and explore more. And I think it looks more professional and, you know, would offer more value and credibility to the content that is there. Even if it's the exact same content, I'm going to have more faith in this content that I'm seeing because I know that more time was spent on it. So those were kind of the touching on the first two points that the research pointed out. The third one, as I mentioned, I feel is the most important, which is reducing the irrelevant cognitive processing. Okay, so if you will, picture this little road map or kind of road track as a learning experience. So pretend this is like an assignment that you put in Canvas for students. Now, if you look at the beginning, the starting, and then at the end at the top, it's a little more clear. The contrast is a little bit better than in the middle. The middle is a little bit cloudy. So oftentimes the starting point and the very ending point of an assignment tend to be pretty, you know, clear and concrete for students, but getting them from the start to the finish can be very ugly. And they may be experiencing a lot of issues along the way that they may not provide feedback on. So you may not know that they're struggling with these things, but how we design our assignments and present them to the students matters a lot. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take this learning experience and we're going to look at it through our course array vision and see a lot of the unseen things that students struggle with. Okay. So this page probably looks ugly and it's putting you off just as much as Ling's Cars does. And that's on purpose. I want it to be that way because this is kind of representative of the chaos that some of our students are going through when they're getting from the beginning of an assignment, trying to get through to the end of the assignment. So we don't have time to go over all of these common cognitive load blocks, but we're just going to zoom in and look at a few of them for the sake of time today. So the first thing that we're going to start off with, the first aspect of cognitive load, looks at what's called sensory memory. And this is where students are just figuring out what to focus on to begin with. So at the very start of the assignment, you know, we basically give them instructions to go, start, begin, and we think that's all there is to it. But in reality, in the span of just a couple seconds, again, that you know, first impression really matters when you're first showing them an assignment. They're filtering out all sorts of sounds and other environmental visual stressors and emotional distractors. There are so many stimuli that our minds are filtering out on any given second. It's actually pretty amazing that students can even just focus to begin an assignment.
Hey, Sam, I have to crack the joke. Says Sam with a squid on his head, right? I'm thinking of stimuli and...
Yes.
I appreciate the humor and the information.
Yes, hopefully you can filter this out of your eyes and your mind right now on the slides. All right, so from that moment, once you actually get students to focus on the assignment, then it goes into the most critical part of processing and thinking about the assignment, which is the working memory area of cognitive load. And the working memory of the cognitive load theory basically says this is the moment when our brain starts to try and make sense out of what we're focusing on. Now, this still happens pretty quickly, in the span of 20 seconds or so. Our brain can only juggle so many things at a time, can only handle putting so much energy on focusing and making sense out of maybe 5 to 7 items at a given time. And that's about it. What we want to do is get those 5 to 7 items to be the core content and learning experiences that we want our students to focus on, not trying to interpret our design or figure out what's important on the page to look at. And that's where design really affects the learning part of an assignment or a learning experience or a task. So we're just going to look at 3 specific cognitive load blocks quickly that aren't content related, but that Design Plus can help minimize during the learning process. Okay, the first one is called split attention. And this is when there's separation between space and time, for instance, of like instructions. So this, sign in the lower right corner that says learning, right turn 10 miles ahead. If you provide instructions for an assignment and then they don't actually get to performing that task until way down on the page or on the next page, they're going to forget what the instructions even were. Okay, so that's like a spatial and time separation. The signs up above are like a diagram or an image where the visuals are separate from the labels of what's actually in that visual. So that's another example of spatial attention, where our cognitive load is spent pausing and trying to hold on to information while we move, either spatial or temporally, and remember that information. If you put these things together, you don't have to spend that cognitive load holding on to those things. Okay, but the good news is the Bruce Wayne version of Brad says City Labs can help with that, and he's going to show us how. A second example is the idea of what's called signaling or calling out important information. So we want to know if there's a major pothole or issue in the road up ahead so we can avoid it. The same thing on our Canvas pages. There's going to be things that are more important than others, like instructions, due dates, section breaks, kind of where you're switching thought. If we don't call those things out, students are using much more of their cognitive load trying to interpret what the most important things are on a page are and how to navigate that. Again, that's non-content memory that's being used up that doesn't need to be. Okay, so the good news is Kristen also agrees that Design Plus can help with that.
I do indeed.
And then the third, just final quick example I'm going to give is one of my favorite. It's, of course, the large continuous block of text that has so much information that by the time you're done processing the end of the paragraph, you've already forgotten what was important at the beginning of the paragraph. So, and this is the idea of segmentation or chunking and chewing content up into small bite-sized pieces of information that students can process before they move on to the next piece of information. And of course, Kenneth is totally going to agree that Design Plus can help with that as well. All right, so when we kind of step back and again, look at this through our course revision, there's many more types of non-content things that create load blocks for students. And we want to use Design Plus to help reduce that and make it look more like an experience like this. Nice and smooth, it's easy, it's clear, and students end up getting to the task achieved, the endpoint, the finish line, without flat tires and scratches and smoking and everything else. They're in much better shape than they were dealing and navigating around all of those cognitive load blocks. Okay, so that's kind of the idea of dealing with cognitive load in an unseen way. And I was going to move on to some examples that we've done here, but the clicker isn't working anymore. Brad, can you advance for me?
Yeah, I got your back. But hey, one comment about this slide I wanted to add. It doesn't mean we want to remove all barriers so there's no educational or productive struggle for the kiddo, right? This road still has the curves in it. It still has the lanes they got to avoid. It might be a hill that goes up or down, right? Like it's going to rain. There's still all those elements that we want them to have the time spent, right? The cognitive load spent on those things, not on these other items. So anyways, I love this
Exactly.
analogy, Sam. It's a great analogy you've built here.
No, that's a great clarification.
Here we
All
go.
right, so I'm going to take my superpower back off
All right, taking it off
for a minute. And I just want to show you a couple quick examples of how we're using Design Plus to improve our Canvas spaces here at Lake Highland. And then Brad's going to, again, start showing you how to make this magic happen. So this was what kind of our typical, at least middle school, upper school homepage looked like coming out of COVID. So when everyone went digital, these homepages were created, which were a great start when you have nothing to begin with. It was a great start. But as these courses have been copied over year after year and semester after semester, having, like navigational items be images, and instead of links, as they get copied over, they inadvertently change in size. So then it becomes a little bit messier looking. We have a lot of unused white space, and we're basically not making the homepage that useful. So we have an icon for clicking on the current module, but we're basically saying click to the homepage. After the first couple of days, the homepage doesn't really matter because you're just going to go onto the current module anyways. So we're adding additional clicks to the learning process and making it harder than it needs to be. So what we're transitioning to is a page more formatted like this, where our navigational blocks are kind of more designed through Design Plus. They're not images that we have to worry about are making sure the same dimensions each time. The linking holds, much better than they did with the images. We're getting rid of a lot of the unused white space. So we're capturing more important information without having to scroll or go to another page. And my favorite tool of Design Plus is this thing called a module list. So oftentimes in Canvas, students will go to a landing page or a home page, but then they'll have to go to either the modules on the side or go through another link to actually get to the content. This modules list tool actually embeds the modules right on the home page. And my favorite feature of this feature is that you can set dates and times for the current module. If you're in a weekly format, you can set it to automatically rotate for you on a given day of the week. And so you're not constantly updating like a current module link, and students aren't having to click additional links to get to the content. It makes the homepage much more useful and meaningful for students. And I think it just looks better as well. So that's just a quick example of a homepage. And then again, a typical content page most of the time tends to be just text with maybe a couple images thrown in. But with just a couple of the features of Design Plus, it looks more complicated, but this is only a couple different tools that I used in the sidebar. We can account for easily at least 10 different cognitive load principles by redesigning just all black and white text into this more visually appealing page. It's easier to follow. It's easier to understand what each section is for. And it just makes the learning experience that much more pleasurable. So that's kind of an example of how we are trying to move our assignments and content pages from our old just throwing information, throwing content in there into being more cognizant of good design practices and the effect that it can have on student learning. So those are a couple examples of what we've done here and kind of what we're exploring more, but that's all fun and great. But now you want to see it actually happen live and see what's involved in the process and how difficult or how easy it is. And Brad's going to take it over from here, and we're going to do a live build so you can see how easy it is.
That's rad. Sam, I appreciate the thoughts, and you called out only 3 principles that we could sort of unpack: the signaling principle, the segmentation kind of chunking principle. And I can see, I'm going to go back one slide.
Sure.
I can see on this, where a lot of those same principles you called out, of course, the other 7 that we didn't unpack in this webinar exist. And for our friends out there that use Canvas, and Canvas, and like, hey, I'd love to do that. I'd love to have a header that has, in this instance, it's a gray, kind of the gray color band with a nice icon that has my school colors are listed here, right? I'm assuming at Lake Highland Prep, you guys are red and black or gray.
Yeah, those are our branded colors. Yep.
Branded colors. So, I'd love to do that. And so, some of us have tried to hack Canvas and do the designs ourselves, and it's awesome. But how do I get all my teachers to do that? Teachers that don't want to, or don't know how to do, custom CSS or those things. So that's what I'm going to share today is let's just play, guys. It is a live demo. So you all know when you're teaching your class and you go to that demo portion, you're like, I hope this works. So Sam, give me a thumbs up. Yeah. And if it doesn't, well, we're going to tell you about it. So Sam, can you see the screen there? Is that looking good?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. So I'm just in my sandbox. Thanks Bayside High Tigers for the school colors. So in my sandbox, I have a home page that I've built, and today I wanted to build a homepage. I actually wanted to kind of build a new homepage for my physics course here. And so, so I kind of use the modules like you did, Sam, earlier, and I like this, but I need just a fresh look on my course. And so, we're going to start a new electricity unit. So I'm going to build a new homepage for this sort of electricity unit within this course. So I've got a Canvas page here, and with Design Plus, not only can you use all of the Canvas, bold and add color to the font or highlight color, but you can also launch the sidebar, and this is where the magic happens to make designing in Canvas quicker and faster without knowing code. And so, so once the sidebar's loaded up here, I have a couple options, but I'm going to start with my little plus button. And for most users, you just come down here and say, hey, I'm in getting started. Let's apply a page theme. And when I apply that page theme, what's really cool about this is you'll notice that this header grabs the homepage name, puts it into the title here. It gives me a little prefix section, but it also is using the same theme that was on my previous page. So whenever you design a page, when you come add a theme to a new page, it's going to use your previous theme, and that's going to actually help teachers with the principle of the Uniform Connect principle. And so just right there, I have color on a page. I have a title that's very clearly indicating what page I'm on. And for my students, I've already reduced some cognitive load. So coming back into the theme, since this is a home page, we're going to go ahead and add a banner image. And what's cool about this banner image is you can select from files within your course, or your institution, your school district can provide you some images that they've selected or they've identified that are awesome for your home pages. And so you can, again, have some uniformity, or maybe you have your own image that you want to use. And so you can upload your own image, crop it, and make it a nice banner title image. So I got one there that I really like. I'm gonna go back to my little theme, and I'm gonna add now a navigational link. It's called Link Grid. So right here, I've clicked these, I've clicked theme, and I've clicked banner image and Link Grid, and I already have now a pretty good, healthy looking homepage without a lot of clicks, and things are looking pretty nice. With this Link Grid, something that's cool in the Link Grid, there's a lot of cool things here. You can come here and you can add, more links than the 4 we offer. You can reduce those links down to the 3. But what you can do through this little interface is you can change the name. So maybe, this is going to be talking about the series circuits, and this is going to be the parallel circuits. So you can see we can change the names right here. We also can select, and this is a signaling principle, but we can select icons that we can add to these buttons. So right now they all have the same icon. And so we can come here and search for, let's look for some electricity type let's spell it right, some electric type icons. So we have thousands of icons that you can pick from, and so I can change that series circuit to that one. Let's click on the parallel. Let's make it this little plug. Let's go to the modules. We'll make it the solar panel. So you can see you can customize these icons pretty quickly for all those buttons. And you can place an icon wherever you'd like. School districts can also categorize icons, and maybe they have a few that they want everyone to use on all of their stuff. So you guys have identified the lightning bolt is our activity icon. So those could be listed here, so I don't have to go search for it every time. I can just select the school ones, and those are my options there. So that's a pretty cool little feature that just is super helpful for teachers who don't have a lot of time to do the designs. So next, so I like that.
Brad, can I interrupt really quick?
Yeah, go for it.
And just if you can go back to click on the navigation grid on the link grid on the right again. And just to the right of that too is the link icon. So you can do all of your linking right there as well. So, building the whole navigation interface is so easy and so quick and so in such a small area. You don't have to search around for it, which is really great.
I love that. You can go to the course links. You can change the icon from here as well, or the name. You can change the link. You can make it open in a new tab, right? So if you want that, feature. So yeah, a lot of great tools. We also are very mindful of our accessible designs. And so you can see here, I zoomed in, hopefully. Did that zoom in for you, Sam?
Yep.
You can see on a large screen, we're going to make that link grid 4 because there's 4 links. But on a medium screen, like maybe an iPad, when they pull this up, it's going to be two columns. And so they'll be, stack those buttons on top of each other. On a phone, it's going to show up as 1 column. And so we have some cool responsive designs that you don't even, again, you might not even realize that's what you should be doing as a teacher. So we're going to help you out wherever we can. We're going to try to help you out with that responsive design. All right, the next piece I'm going to add here is, what did I want to add here next? I want to add,
Did Brad lose audio for anybody else?
Yeah, Brad, we can't hear you. Something just happened.
All right, let me check.
You're back. You're back.
Apologize, that microphone's finicky. So I added this little content block. This is an opportunity for you to just it's got a header already placed. It's got a content paragraph already placed. Again, this is about responsive designs, about accessible designs. But what's cool about the content blocks are you can come in and you can pre-create content that you're going to just drop into your page. So maybe this is a piece of content that you're using over and over, and you want to be able to have this image gallery, and you don't want to have to build it from scratch. So you can save these things as content blocks and then drop them into the page, when you want to use them. So I'm actually going to just build mine from scratch. So I can show you guys a couple other features, but that's what content blocks do. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a paragraph before that content block, after that content block, and show off one of our new features called background tool. The background tool is really neat. It's a simple way to add color to a page. Shout out to all my K-5 teachers out there. I know you love color in Canvas, and it's hard to do that. With the background tool, you can add the color into the page. Notice that this text changed color automatically so that it has the appropriate contrast. And so that's something that we can do. You can pick from your branding colors if you want to change the background colors there. We have some cool shapes that you can drop in. For this instance, I'm going to pick this little baseball home plate shape. I just like kind of how it runs with we kind of got this header, and then we kind of got this content field area. The other thing I'm going to do is under the overlay section is you can do some gradients. And so just in a matter of a few clicks, I have a nice looking little homepage already going on here, which I'm kind of excited about. So then we'll give this a little name. We'll call these lessons. And then in my content section, the last thing I want to show you guys is for this electricity, homepage. This is kind of my homepage for this electricity unit, but you could use this as assignment pages, right? Any of these elements you could use on any of your assignment pages, discussion pages. So in this example, for electricity, when you teach electricity, you usually have series circuits, you got parallel circuits, you got like a combination circuit. So I'm going to break this section into what we call columns. So we have a tool here. You can see we have lots of tools, lots of options here. And you can also search through to find, the elements that you're looking for. In this case, I'm going to do a little page layout element called columns. So I'm going to add the columns into the page. So now I have 2 column layout here. We have some default layouts. Sam, I noticed on one of your pages, you had your example of your previous homepage. They used a table, right?
Right. Yep.
Homer was in the left.
Yeah, it was a table and it was a nightmare. Absolute nightmare to keep updating.
It's a nightmare because it's not responsive. Tables are meant for data. You can use tables in Canvas, but they're meant for data. They're not meant for page layouts.
Yeah.
One of the nightmares is the images will expand and contrast. The other nightmare is a kid on a small screen. They're going to have to like kind of scroll over. It's not good design. So this is the way you can design it with columns, which are responsive. They'll stack when the screen size gets smaller. And so, you can pick from some of our preset ones, or you can fully build your own layouts. So let me show you some productivity tips too that save me a lot of time when I'm designing in Canvas. So I'm going to go ahead and build out this first column, and then I'm just going to do a simple thing, a duplicate, so I don't have to rebuild, multiple times. So I'm going to go ahead and build out and insert a new tool called the card tool. The card tool just puts in this little card. It's got some rounded borders. It's got some shading. I love that. But what I love about it is you can do things like you can add a header, or you can add the image, and maybe you want a little footer at the bottom, and you can rearrange these, and you can delete them and duplicate them. And so you can build out a little card just to call out some information, right? This is a signaling principle. So I'm going to go ahead and select the image, use my little image tool to search for an image. Let's go I put some images in a folder already. So let's just go ahead and grab this battery image for series. Actually, I'm going to make it the Christmas tree lights, right? That's a good example of a series. Let's go ahead and delete that title. But in this section, here's the next cool thing that I just love, love, love. You mentioned one of your favorites is module lists. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to add that module list. The power in this, it's going to save you a whole lot of time. It's going to automatically show you all the modules that are published and make that available for students. In its basic form, this is a link to those modules, which is already very helpful. But what you can do is you can transform that by using the little style button, and I can make those that list become these large buttons. And if you wanted to take the time, we could go through and, like we did before, we could come through and add those icons. Like we did before, I can kind of, pick different icons for my modules, etc. So we can kind of go through and do that. I won't bore you with that, but you can see those icons kind of change. And so that's a quick way to make some large buttons for your screen. The other thing that we can do, though, which down here I have a preview for what it looks like on the website versus what it looks like in the app. So these are similar. One thing we can do in the website is actually transform that module list and show all the links like you were doing on your homepage. Mm-hmm. So we can embed the module links themselves directly into the page. So now on the website, when I save this, it's going to transform into this little tab section. Maybe I should do accordions or expanders. There we go. So now the student can drop those down and toggle between the different lessons. But on the app, we can't transform that right now. Canvas hasn't made that available for us to do it. And so it will still show the large buttons like it did before. And then when they click on that, it goes to that section in the app. So still functional, just unfortunately, we can't do the full transformation. But I love this transformation here. So we're going to go ahead and leave that. I like the look and feel. That's looking pretty good. Let me just change that to that view. Okay, so this card is built. I want to do this 2 more times, but I don't want to spend the time to do that. So one way we can do that is come into our columns tool. Let's delete those other columns.
Oh, you're in the, oh, okay.
Yep, and I'm just going to duplicate. I'm going to duplicate that card out now twice. So I put some new columns with the card tool already built using the little duplicate button. And from here, you know, maybe I want to adjust the module list so it's not repetitive. That would be annoying if that was the case. So I'm going to go ahead and hide modules, or 1, 2, and 3 are going to be displayed here. Let's hide 1, 2, and 3, and now 4 and 5 are going to be displayed here. And then maybe on the end here, I'm just going to clear all the links, and let's add, you know, 6, 7, and the snow day over here. So you can kind of see, you can quickly duplicate your work and save you a whole lot of time in building your designs. All right, last tip. You see all these paragraphs that are empty? This is a lot of extra paragraphs on the page. We have a little ghost tool here that when you click it, it deletes all those empty paragraphs for you. So it cleans your page up nicely. Okay, this is all looking pretty good. I think I want 1 paragraph above that content block. Let's go ahead and save my page. And I've taken that blank page and in a few clicks created a nice header. I have my custom image. I got my icons with my links to my different activities. And then I have I didn't edit this, guys. This should have said parallel. You get it. You get it. I'm trying to save some time on this live demo for questions. So, but now you can see I have these nice module lists that are displaying the links to for the students. It's also expanding the little background. So that's kind of a cool feature that just looks nice. And my students can quickly access or get access right to the activities, the assignments that they need to do. And if you love this, you know, if you love this look and feel, you can easily copy that, you know, paste it into other pages, or you know, we have a templated tool, and our templated tool lets you just grab content from your course that you've built before, or even find content that is provided to you from your school, where there's already previous, you know, all that content that somebody's already stylized and made it look great. You can come in here, find the one you want, click on it, and it's going to drop all that content with the style into the page. And now you're ready to do your designs. So, so don't feel like you have to build everything from scratch every time. It can be saved and templated in when needed. So I'm going to go ahead and just hit undo, hopefully a couple times to bring my page back.
Yeah, we've got a couple of questions that I think we might just stay here where you can show things.
Yeah.
So the first one is from Gianna, sorry. Can we build the course using Design Plus in a template first, then copy a Canvas course into our actual course? I think that was at the very beginning, and I believe the answer is yes, but I wanted you to maybe talk through that as you're talking through templates now.
Yeah, that's a great question. So a couple things just to note. So your district will have the ability to save things into what is called a Design Plus customizations course. I'm just going to show you that. So your Canvas admin would have access to one of these courses. And in this course is where they can go and load up content or entire pages, templated pages, that then all the teachers can bring in whenever they want to add. Say they want to add this practice block. So they can just template that in and boom, they can pull it into the page. Or like I showed you just now, you can come into your course. Let me just go ahead and add a paragraph here. You can come into your course and using the templated content section, you can pull in any content from your current course. So you can come in and find content from this course that you've built before, and you can grab that content and drop it in the page. Or you can go and find the templated content like we just looked at, and then pull that templated content into your course. So absolutely. The other thing to note, Jenna, if that's who asked the question, Canvas allows you to do things like copy a page or copy a course or send a page to another user. As long as they are in your Canvas instance where Design Plus is installed, all this content will copy over exactly the same. So as you build it, they'll be able to pull it in and use it. So great question on, copying or using templated content.
Can I add one more thing to that?
Yeah.
One thing that we're experimenting with is in Canvas for a sub account in Canvas. So for instance, like our upper school, Canvas allows you to create a template so that every course that gets rolled over from your SIS system, so we use PowerSchool. So whenever all of our upper school courses get created, you could have content already in there that has design plus, formatted pages. And then when you copy your course over from previous years or previous semester, examples of those pages are already in every course that's being created. So if you're kind of looking at distributing it more on a larger scale, you can use the combination of Canvas's templating feature with Design Plus's templates.
Love that. And this is where you would see that if you're an admin,
Yep.
you come right here to your sub account and you can say which template course do you want it to be pulling from. So yeah, if you built out, if this would be a great example, right? If this were your homepage that you used as your template, when those courses are popped in synced from SIS, bam, this homepage gets loaded for them. Teachers, all they have to do now is come in and say, oh, well, my name is Moser, right? And this is 101 physics or whatever it is. So they can just come in and quickly adjust or edit those features. Sam, thanks for calling that out.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Any other questions, Kristen?
Yeah, we have 4. So I'm
Great.
trying to make sure we have time for all of them. You did touch on a little bit about responsive design. There was a specific question from Paula about seeing the module list on mobile and what that might look like.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So I showed you when you click in here, and let's go into a module list. So something.
Yeah, actually, there was another question. Where do you find the module list feature to add? So we'll answer 2 at once.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to show you a couple of things. So one, this is the sidebar, right? And the sidebar, if it's not showing, will be a little rocket ship. Of course, you have to have this installed at a sub account or root account level. And so I would open the sidebar and then you put your cursor wherever you put your cursor. The sidebar is going to know, it's going to dynamically change to show you all the elements that you're allowed to adjust or can adjust where your cursor is located. So if you're not seeing it here, you need to put your cursor where the module list has already been inserted. And then that would be one of the options that you can go and change. So the first thing, I'll answer the preview question first, and then I'll come back to where do I get the module list. So under modules, you can scroll down to the very bottom of our little drop downs here, and we'll close a couple of these. And there's a preview to show you what the website will look like and what the app will look like when this is saved. So that's the preview, the style. The other option that you can see what this will look like for the most part on a mobile device. We can't render all the JavaScript in this. If you come here to preview content, you can launch a preview of what this saved content will look like on, in this case, on a large screen. But if you change this down to a smaller screen, you can see what this will look like when it's saved on a mobile device. So you can see that these are actually nicely stacking for me on that mobile device and what it would look like. So that's a preview option. And that's a great tool to just kind of have up when you're designing to really check yourself for accessibility. And speaking of accessibility, one more thing, we have a little accessibility checker that will call out inaccessible content in the page. And so right now I have this, series or heading 5 structure. And so you can adjust that to kind of fix your inaccessible errors. So, then their question was, where do I go to insert that? So if you are on the new sidebar, which anybody as of last summer would be in this new interface, then you come to this plus button and you can just search for module list and you'll find it there. If you want to find it in the categories, it's under navigation. And if you're in your legacy tools, some of you might be legacy tool users, it's down under the advanced section. Expand that section out and you'll see it there. For legacy tool users, you might have to enable a user setting that says, enable advanced tools. And so you might check that as well if you're not seeing it listed in your advanced tool section. I hope that helps.
Yeah, definitely. We got to thank you. So there was a question from Paula about the theme colors. How did you get them and how are they different from institutional colors? I think this has to do with customizations.
Yeah, so the theme color is actually applying the themes are actually applying the theme color from your institution. So and so based on the sub account that you're in, you may have a certain theme color that are coming in by default. So if I go like to the background tool, wherever you see this little this widget, you'll see the branding color that comes through. But you're not limited to those colors. So these are the background colors that are automatic, that are my options, but you're not limited to that. If you want to come in here and I'm on background tool, I can load this background tool in our style editor. Now this is going to get a little bit like, hey, for advanced people, check this out. So the style editor lets you select different pieces of content on your page. And what's really cool is if you hover over this, it'll actually highlight what it is you're going to select. And so you can get very granular. So let's say I want this background and I'm going to come down here under not borders. I mean, I could do borders and background and have that same picker, but I actually want to come down to the color section, and it's in here where you can come and pick any color that your heart's content to change that background. You can change the text, you can change the border color for that. You can save these. If you really are going to use this background color over and over, you can favorite it. We have some related colors that will pop up. You can see my user favorite colors. So maybe if you have a certain set of colors you're using over and over for your course, you can save those.
You've showed all the options. I'm going to move you on because we've got 2 more questions.
All right, move me on. But there's where your colors are located for those that want it.
Thanks. So we had a question when you were doing the columns with cards. Were you creating the columns first, then copying the cards, or you create the cards first, then copy, which creates the columns?
Okay, I love that question. You can do either. So it's going to be whichever one is your preference. I created the one, let me go into the columns here. I like columns. I'm starting to learn better how to use it. It's a newer tool to me. And so so I created the columns first, and then I created the card. And then I actually just went in here and let me delete these 2 cards. I deleted out those two columns, and I just duplicated the column so I could kind of have that column with any content that's in the column will also be duplicated. So so I created the column, put the card in it, and then I just duplicated that column. If you wanted to, you can put your cursor in here, select card, and I can come here and say copy card, or I could duplicate the card, but it's going to duplicate it wherever your cursor is located. So let me come down and just make like a new paragraph here. I'll do a new paragraph below this little background tool, and I'm going to paste that card in down here. So the card is going to expand to fill the entire width of whatever container that it's in. So since this paragraph is a full width paragraph, that card is going to expand to the full width of that container itself. So if you want to use this little button here to say, hey, I want 2 column cards, or I want it to be 3 column cards. So there's some hacks to kind of help.
Excellent. We have a question from Veronica. Does Design Plus require a caption for tables? If yes, is it assigned a specific location?
So does it require caption for tables? So we require is interesting, right? When you design, you'll want to make sure that you add your accessible features. So for example, tables and whatnot. Tables by default in Canvas, I don't believe are captioned. When we add a table from Design Plus, you can add it either way. You can add it from Canvas, or you can add it from Design Plus. But in terms of the captioning, you can select the little button here, and then it will add the caption for you. You can choose to put it above or below, to the right, left align, or right align. We also have some other cool features in here to make sure that you've identified your column header, your row header, your footer row. You can even make tables sortable or striped or have the rollover effect. So a lot of cool features that you can build with the tables. But yeah, there's the table caption under the advanced style for tables.
Fantastic. Well, y'all have answered all of everybody's questions. We appreciate everyone who's joined us today, taking the time to learn a little more about Design Plus. Again, if you have any questions, please reach out. We'd love to show you more. There are so many exciting tools and features that we know we can help you save time and also engage your learners more. We'll be sending out the recording of this in the next maybe 48 hours, so stay tuned if you want to share this video with anyone else you know.
Hey, and Kristen, I'll actually be at ISTE. If anyone's going to ISTE, shout out friends, come by the booth and, hit me up, get you some swag, and would love to see what you're designing or maybe design challenges you have and see if we can help you. So also connect, Kristen, I just want to give a high five to Sam. Sam, I love that content. It inspires me because we want to help teachers be better designers, and you gave some really good nuggets, dude. So appreciate it.
No, I love it. Everything about City Labs has been lifesavers in so many situations since we adopted it. So I appreciate you all so much.
Same. All right, everyone have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thanks for coming, everyone.